Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day to all our viewers across the globe. Welcome to another fascinating episode of Global Arena on my YouTube channel, Global Arena TV. I'm your host, Umar Isa Dandago. Well, as a political journalist, I have been so interested and captivated by the political dynamics happening in different countries around the world. And one of those countries I am particularly interested in is Turkey, or Turkey as they now call it. Well, at the end of October of 1923, the Turkish Republic was born, as some put it, out of the ashes of the Ottoman Empire. Since then, the country has passed through different phases of transformations, right from the reign of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk up to the time of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who has now been so pragmatic that he not only forges but maintains a relatively stable and controversial relationship with both the Western blocs and the Eastern blocs. So we are going to delve into a little bit of Turkish history, then its influence in the region of the Middle East, and of course, its position on the global stage. And to do that, I'm joined by two of my favorite experts from two different continents, Muhammad Qaddam Sidiq Isa, our Middle East Affairs analyst based in Dubai. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the show, Muhammad.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And Abdullahi Manneh, our Russian Middle East, our Russian political affairs analyst based in St. Petersburg, one of the major cities in Russia, the home of Wagner forces, even though the chief was assassinated a few months ago. Abdullah Manneh, welcome back to the show and thank you for recording, always.
Thanks for having me.
Well, briefly, Muhammad Qaddam Sidiq Isa, you are currently in Dubai and the COP28 summit is currently happening, a summit of world leaders talking about climate change and how to deal with it. I'm sure you must have been busy. I mean, the city must have been busy hosting different world leaders. I hope you have seen some of them, like Joe Biden.
Well, I'm not very much interested in that. I just know that things like that are going on, but I'm not interested, climate change, these kind of things.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And this week also, the world has lost a controversial US diplomat, Henry Kissinger. Abdullahi Manneh has been a very vocal critic of Henry Kissinger. So what do you say briefly in 2 seconds? Kissinger is dead.
Yes, of course. I mean, like any other U.S. Secretary General or U.S. Foreign Secretary, I think Kissinger was a war criminal. It's a pity that he was not prosecuted before he died. And it's rather unfortunate that he lived for 100 years. But now he's dead. And then I hope he get all the punishment he deserves in the next life that he hasn't got here. So millions died, millions were killed, murdered because of him. Vietnam and many other countries. And so just like any other US secretary or president, they all deserve some punishment.
Well, Kissinger
world.
is a typical, Kissinger is a typical example of American dream. He was, he fled the Nazi Germany during the Second World War, and he made it up to the top US diplomat. Well, by the way, we will have enough time to talk about him in the future. Muhammad Qaddam Sidiq Isa, talking about Turkey. Turkey from 1923 to date has passed through a number of different transformations. What briefly can you say about the significance of these transformations in 100 years?
Well, I think until the mid-90s, there was nothing to show for it, to be honest. Because since the collapse of the Ottoman Empire in 1923, that kick-started the secular dispensation and regime under Ataturk. The country had not been that stable, either politically or socially or whatever. Military, which has always been the most secularized institution in the country, has been very much involved in the country's politics. And since 1960, the military have made some intervention, or rather military takeover of government in the country for at least 3 or 4 times. The last was around 1997. But with the rise of, before Erdogan, we have to talk about his mentor, who was Najmuddin Erbakan, with his party, Islamic Welfare Party or something like that, under which Erdogan was groomed. That was in the 90s, mid-90s. Erdogan was able to even become the mayor of Istanbul, and he proved himself a very successful politician and a leader. That actually gave him the impetus and momentum in his party until he became prime minister in 2002. Now, from 2002, yes, Turkish history has dramatically changed. Turkish fortune has also dramatically been transformed under Erdogan. Erdogan arguably would be the most successful politician in Turkish modern history. This is if we are talking in the sense of the success or measure of success under democracy. The man has been able to present himself successfully in various conflicting characters. He's a populist in the eyes of some people, an elitist in the eyes of some, an Islamist in the eyes of many, a nationalist, a Ataturk, also pro-Ataturk in the eyes of others, also against Ataturk in the eyes of some, and also a secularist. Of course, a secular politician, because of course, yes, he's an Ataturk. He has always glorified Mustafa Kemal Ataturk in all his public speeches. But yet, for some, he is against Ataturk, because politically, he knows he can't afford to criticize Mustafa Kemal Ataturk politically. Likewise, also outside Turkey, in Europe, for example, he's seen as kind of a pro or nationalist Turkish president who is very ambitious in geopolitics of Europe, someone who is very interested in raising the fortune of his country. The same thing also if you come to the Middle East, he's largely seen as an Islamist, of course. And in Europe, they see him as a secular politician, just like them. And in total, he's kind of a politician who has a very huge ambition, geopolitical ambition, to raise the fortune of his country to where he believes it befits it, where it belongs. And to be honest, over the past 18 years or so, he has been able to do that, to achieve that, from a country that had been grappling with economic instability, political instability, social instability. He has been able to stabilize the country economically. Now, Turkey is one of the 20 the biggest economies in the world. It is G20. Of course, yes, it's a major player in European and in fact global politics, and of course Middle East and European geopolitics. And the country is the biggest or the second biggest contributor of troops to NATO. And the country is generally stable. And the man has been able to maintain all his conflicting postures and characters. And I believe that he is leaving politics, as controversial as he started it, and with different perception from different people, because wherever you take him, he fits in. If you take him as a populist, he is a populist. If you take him as an elitist, he is an elitist. If you take him as a secular, he is secular, an Islamist, a Turkish nationalist, and all these pictures that are conflicting.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Qaddam, in a sentence, how would you personally describe Erdogan in a sentence.
Very successful in terms of the measure of success under democracy. Mind this. Success, the measure of success under democracy is very successful. This is moral consideration are not considered here.
Okay. Later I will see if you can pinpoint some of the criticisms labeled against him. Abdullahi Manneh, looking at what is happening on the ground, especially in Middle East and the Turkish influence, the sphere of influence of Turkey pervading the region, and looking at some of the things that Mr. Qaddam has raised, can we say that Erdogan is trying to dominate the Middle Eastern region, is trying to become the #1 president or leader of the region? Do you see it this way?
It's so fascinating the way Muhammad described Erdogan. He knows him well. He's an eccentric person. You know, he's a very complex. He's a very complex person, and he's charismatic. All right. So as he says, some will see him as an Islamist, or what I don't like the word Islamist, but I would say as a Muslim leader, kind of who is pro-Islam, for example. Or some
what is the difference between Islamic politician or Muslim politician and then Islamists?
Because the word is invented. Islamist is like someone who is just religious. Then they use the word Islamist. So
if somebody is religious, then there is no problem to describe him as an Islamist.
Islamist. I mean, the word is used with a negative connotation. It's invented by the media with a negative connotation. So, which is why I am critical of that wording, right? So, you can say he is a Muslim leader who sees himself as important in the Muslim world, like a Muslim politician, right? So Erdogan has this, he is charismatic. So he knows how to get everyone to his camp. He knows this. But it brings him with a lot of problems too. And to answer your question, let's go back to the Arab Spring time, right? Arab Spring.
2011.
2011. Erdogan was Gaddafi's friend. They had good terms. But again, he's such a kind of a crony, as I said, he's eccentric. He has this quality that he waits, he observes, he waits and observes. He doesn't want to be on the losing side of anything. So he knows politics. When Gaddafi was losing, that he knows that Gaddafi was now losing, then he decided to distance himself from Gaddafi and ask him to step down. He didn't come to the help of Gaddafi. They have Erdogan has there's this foreign policy doctrine. They call it it's named after his former foreign minister, Davutoglu's doctrine. That is zero problem with his neighbors. That this doctrine is zero problem with his neighbors. So which means zero problem with his people of his neighbors, right? Or government, something like that. It doesn't matter. But again, people might interpret that he has zero problem with dictators and he doesn't want to be stained. You know, like he doesn't need dirt around him. Again, to summarize, okay, he wants to fit in, he wants to get along with everyone. So when Gaddafi was going down, he decided to distance himself. And
did he send troops?
Exactly.
Did he contribute troops to the NATO-led bombing of Libya?
That's where I'm going. Whatever happens in Libya, Libya's Gaddafi's failure is through Erdogan. If Erdogan stood with him, Gaddafi wouldn't fail. The same goes with Morsi, even Muslim brother. Mubarak first. Let's go to Mubarak first. The same Mubarak, Gaddafi, Erdogan didn't condemn Mubarak right away. He waited until the US went against Mubarak. Then he also was critical. The same goes to Syria.
Okay. Yeah.
The same with Syria. Now, how did NATO get the no-fly zone was first established by him because he came to the Mediterranean. It was first established by Erdogan. And then he transferred this power to, I would say, he gave this space, this power to NATO. That's how, yes. The same in Syria when he was a friend to Assad. Just like this zero problem with neighbors, he was getting along with Assad. But when things went bad, it went violent, everything, the NATO was against Assad, then he chose chose NATO's side because he's hosting the biggest NATO base, the American base. He is the one hosting that. Turkey has the biggest NATO base. So unfortunately, but now it's giving him problem too. This has brought him a lot of problem because now he wants to get along with Assad because Assad is not leaving till there.
Yeah, Assad is back. Assad is now back into the Arab League.
Exactly. He wants to get along with Assad, but Assad is in a better position to bargain. So leave my country first because we still have Turkish troops in Syria, occupying parts of Syria. We can talk when you leave my country. That's the position they are with Syria now.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure looking at the good relationship that Erdogan has with the Iranians, I'm sure they might interfere and fix the relationship between Erdogan of Turkey and
I believe so.
the Bashar al-Assad of Syria. Qaddam, you want to join in because this is a very important area that you are specialized in, the Middle Eastern political turmoils and issues. But there's one thing that I want to put to you before you make comment on what Abdullah has said. Do you think Turkey is at the better position to balance the sectarian conflict or tension happening in the Middle Eastern region? Now there are countries that are pro-Saudi Arabia. The Sunni majority countries are pro-Saudi Arabia, are leaning to Saudi Arabia, and the Shia majority countries are leaning towards Iran, and this has created a lot of tension. And in some places like Yemen, war is happening. Do you think Turkey is playing any sort of neutral and neutralizing role in calming down the situation and easing the tension?
Well, though Turkey is basically a Sunni country, but it is not very much interested in that kind of Shia or Sunni conflict, at least in this time of the age. It used to when it was under Ottoman Empire and when there was a constant conflict between it and the Persian, which later became Iranian, Safavids, Shiites. But now, Turkey or Turkey knows that it is not threatened by the Iranian agenda, knows that. It knows the Iranian agenda is basically focused on Arabs. It wants to dominate Arabs, it wants all these kind of things. But on Turkey, it's not that threatened. So it doesn't, Erdogan doesn't put much or excessive emphasis on that kind of thing. What is only driving...
But Erdogan, I'm sorry, but Erdogan fought against the ISIL from 2014 up to...
That is very interesting, my dear. Yeah, Erdogan is the closest person to ISIS.
Absolutely.
The person that
As in
facilitated...
how?
Of course, yes. It's the person that facilitated everything for ISIS. And actually, he's even when ISIS occupied some parts of Iraq and some parts of Syria, actually he was the only one buying their crude oil.
Oh yeah, yes.
And supplies
and open the borders to foreign fighters to come and join
ISIS. And all ISIS guys who joined ISIS went through Turkey. You just buy a ticket and go to Turkey, and boom, you will be in ISIS.
What was it in for
the
him?
issue of that the ISIS politics is another issue for itself.
Another topic,
not only Erdogan, not only Erdogan, even the United States also all collaborated with.
Absolutely.
In fact, the countries who are most critical of ISIS are the countries who are actually beneficiaries of ISIS: Erdogan, the United States, and Iran.
Yes.
These three countries are the major supporters and major backers of ISIS, and they are the major beneficiaries of the ISIS. The countries who have never benefited from ISIS, who had been at the what they call it at the end of everything, and who their interests were damaged by ISIS, and a lot of things happened to them. Mostly are these Arab countries, but unfortunately, the media and for politics, ISIS has been ascribed to them. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
This is part of politics.
As you said, this issue of ISIS is a very complex issue.
It's another topic. But the three countries the three countries benefited more, and they were the real facilitators of everything that ISIS did.
So Abdullah, that explains why Erdogan is so eccentric, as you have said. Complex.
Yes.
I
want to add to what Mohammed said. Okay, I wanted to add something I forgot.
Okay. Before you remember, let me put this question to you. Putin in 2022, well, as the media have been reporting it, sent troops to invade Ukraine, and you people are calling it in Russia special operation, whatever the vocabulary is.
According to international law, they use the same special operation.
Okay, definitely. So Erdogan condemned the attack, especially Turkey. Let's put it this way: Turkey condemned the invasion of Ukraine, but then did not contribute or did not send any troop to find, has not contributed militarily to Ukraine in order to fight against Putin. Putin is still maintaining, or Erdogan is still maintaining a good relationship with Russia, while at the same time being part and parcel of NATO. Please help us understand this complexity. How possible is it for him not to be seen as a hypocrite, playing a double role or double standard? Abdullahi, Manneh.
No, as we say, as Mohammed described him so well. He likes to sit on, two chairs, whatever you call it, here, there, wherever. So this is who he is. He wants to benefit from everywhere and also I can understand he's in a difficult situation. His country is in turmoil, and that economically, inflation is just skyrocketing. Okay, and that is caused because the causes of that is because of the Syrian conflict, right? And they sanctioned the country in the past a little bit, which caused later to depreciate. So the value of the money is just dropping. It's just hitting the bottom rock, So I wanted to comment on what Mohammed said about your question regarding Sunni Shia in this whole Middle East. It is not the problem today. Today, if you are up to date, if you watch news, Saudi Arabia and Iran have normalized their relations, diplomatic relations.
Yeah, definitely.
Embassies open there.
Last year in March.
Yes, and still
facilitated China.
Just a few days ago, Saudi Arabia and Iran decided to cooperate militarily. You can't imagine. So it is never about Sunni Shia thing. It's more about power struggle, regional, for it to become the regional power. Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey, these three countries, and Egypt, they compete to be the regional power. So they need to use their proxies or to have influence over different countries within the region. So look at Hamas. So look at Hamas.
Yeah.
Hamas, when we define Sunni Shia thing broadly, Hamas is Muslim Brotherhood, which is Turkey's current ruling party is a Muslim Brotherhood, de facto Muslim Brotherhood. So Hamas' biggest supporter today has always been Iran. But they are not the same. Sunni, sure. So it's not about Sunni, sure. Yeah. So that's the point. About
Qaddam, that explains. Okay, about what, Abdullah?
About Erdogan giving supporting Ukraine militarily. That it didn't. It did. He did. He sold weapons. Yes, he sold weapons to Ukraine.
Okay.
The first drones used by Ukraine was Bayrak drone, Turkish drone.
So that's business, not military aid. Okay, business, not military aid.
No.
Because the US did not sell weapons, right, to Ukraine. Right. They gave them as military aid. Okay,
complex.
fine.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Madam, there's something that I wanted to ask you. Oh, yeah. I just remember. So some of the things that Abdullah Manneh said are similar to what Henry Kissinger said. There is no permanent friend and permanent enemy, only what? Permanent interest or common interest. Yeah. So yeah, that means like Saudi Arabia and Iran were seen as enemies, foes, whatever word you can use, but now they are coming together to mend ties and restore diplomatic relations with each other. This is very also interesting to look at. All right, we got a question from one of our viewers, Ali Baba Usman, who is a PhD student and at the same time a lecturer at Baba Ahmed University. He says, and I quote, as Turkey is one of the G20 states that are economically buoyant, how have they managed to attain that level of achievement? Muhammad Qaddam.
Well, Erdogan was able, first of all, to reform the relevant legislative provisions, reform the relevant laws of investment and business in the country, especially that related to attracting foreign investors into Turkey. And at the same time also to look up to relevant laws in European countries, especially Western Europe, because as I say, though a populist, a politician, is also a capitalist par excellence, Mr. Erdogan. He's very much committed to capitalist principles and capitalist policies in economic management. So he was able to also introduce some kind of sanity and transparency in the country that he has been able to minimize corruption and also enhance transparency in government business and in everything for doing business in the country. And also make the country much safer for people to come in as tourists or as business people to come and invest. The combination of these factors attracted investors from all over the world, from the United States, from Canada, from Western Europe, and especially from the Arab countries, who have converged in Turkey and invested heavily, especially in also Turkish banking system, even in Turkish central bank. Even I think less than last year or so, when Saudi Arabia invested, I think, more than 10 billion in Turkish central bank. The UAE here invested like kind of 5 billion. And so he has been able to do that. And foreign investors, wherever they are, they're just looking for a stable country with functional amenities, functional facilities, and also a kind of a young population of educated young Turkish that are there who are also ready to work. So the combination of all this, including as well the stability, which is paramount, attracted investors from all over the world to the country. And the country has been able to develop at a very high pace since then. And that is thanks, of course, to Erdogan. Even though on the other side also there are some exaggerations of all his achievements. because he's a very good
Okay.
person also at manipulating media and also at manipulating, it's a very good at political stunts or
Politician.
whatever you call it.
Mm,
Yeah, so there are a lot of exaggeration that he has been able to pay off all the country's debt, and he's been able to zero inflation, and all these kind of things that's channel, the popular channel, I don't want to call it, that promoted him, that is disseminated all over the world. They are not true, to be honest, but generally he is very successful.
Yeah, all right. So, Abdullahi Manneh, what can you add upon this? But there's one critical issue that Qaddam has raised, which is very much struck me. The issue of having young population, young educated people in the country. Unfortunately, here in Africa, especially in Nigeria, unfortunately, we have one of the largest population of young people, but education is very bad, is very poor. The number of out-of-school children is always at a high level, and even who don't have degrees and higher educations, their numbers are always increasing. Abdullahi Manneh, what lessons do you think should our leaders in Africa learn from Turkey, especially when it comes to making the educational institutions, educational system better than they are currently?
I wouldn't say our education system is bad either. We have, as
So
you say,
what is it?
I wouldn't say that. Nigeria especially, Nigeria, Ghana, we have great universities, right? Like he said, when Erdogan came to power, he brought in some reforms. Institutional reform is very important. So to attract foreign direct investment, people would love to invest in a country that is secure, that has a stable electricity supply, infrastructure, amazing infrastructure. So Turkey has that. Turkey is like Europe in the Middle East. Okay, and strategically, it's located. It's located in a almost in the center. You can easily access Russia, East, West Asia, and Europe, and Africa,
Yeah.
through Turkey. You can
Definitely.
access all of these markets. So it's strategically a good place to invest, a good place to do business. But another point is corruption. He as Mohammed mentioned before. So back home, we have weak institutions. That is it. We can be educated and have a lot of graduates, but we are useless if we are not we have nowhere to work and then apply what we learn, apply our knowledge. We have a lot of young people, a lot of educated people, but where can we apply this skill and knowledge? That's why many people leave home. And in brain drain, we have that Africa is suffering. Brain drain. A lot of talented people are not staying. Okay, but
and that is why talented people like you, Abdullahi Manneh, are not in the Gambia. You are in St. Petersburg, and Qaddam is not in Nigeria. He is now in Dubai.
UAE is an example. All right.
Definitely.
Most of the population are foreigners, foreign expats, right? Mohammed can confirm that. Qatar, the same thing. But the country is developed. It's well developed. So it's not about expats. It's not about skills, young people. It's just about institutions and infrastructure and how we can attract foreign direct investment and develop everything within. In the country, whether it's tourism or whatever. Turkey has this. Turkey hosts the largest, most of the tourists going to Turkey are from Russia and Europe, Germany. So we need that. We need invest. We need to reform our institutions. We need institutional reform.
Okay. Muhammad Qaddam Sidiq Isa, some years ago, like 10 years back, there were lots of headlines and news analysis suggesting that Turkey was making a move to join the EU, the European Union. Where is this issue now? Has it died down?
Well, you can say so, but not officially, actually, because there is a lot of politics that is involved in that Turkish request for that. It is not 10 years old, actually. It has been for quite a long period of time. And but since the rise of Erdogan, the request also was bedeviled or has been bedeviled in much more challenges because European countries, there are some underlying issues. For example, the underlying issues which are not officially mentioned. Turkey being a huge Muslim country in terms of population. And this kind of underlying factor is very important for European when they are taking such a decision to admit Turkey into European Union. In fact, there are countries like some politicians in some countries, like in Hungary and other countries, who are far right. They are mentioning it clearly that Turkey is a Muslim country, so it is not eligible to be admitted. But the other countries, the bigger countries like France, politicians in France and Germany and other countries, of course, they are not saying that clearly, but this is what in their mind, at the back of their mind, that if Turkey had been a non-Muslim country, it would have since been part of European Union. And the other thing as well also, Erdogan already realized that politics, so that he knows that his country is not going to be admitted. So he just kind of lost interest in the whole request, in pursuing the request, especially also that he began to act like a competitor to the major members of the Union, like France and Germany. And in fact, in some aspects, he was he has been able to outdo them and outplay them in geopolitical politics, Germany and France, which are of course the biggest members of the Union. So that kind of thing gave him that the confidence and momentum and the impetus as well that Turkey still can do reasonably without being part of the European Union, and he has been able to prove that. So the issue of Turkey being part of Europe, I don't think that is going to happen in the foreseeable future, especially now our dynamics of geopolitics are changing much at a very higher phase, and things are being involved in the politics of that.
Okay, Abdullahi Manneh, before I ask you the next question, do you want to add upon this Turkish request to join the EU and not getting the request granted?
I think it as Mohammed said, it's something that is not a priority to Erdogan anymore, because it's not realistic. Not only Hungary, Poland wouldn't want to see Turkey being part of the European Union. They don't want a Muslim majority country, to be part of European Union. European values to them is a Christian Europe, right? And now that we have a right-wing anti-Muslim prime minister in Netherlands, Holland. So that's another problem. Very problematic, because Netherlands hosts one of the few countries that host the largest Turkish diaspora. Netherlands and Germany, a lot of Turkish people, because they built Germany and this place, Netherlands. They were civil engineers. They built Germany after the Second World War, right? So yeah, it's just a lost cause. So it's not going to happen. Yeah. Now the dynamic of politics, as Mohammed said, is changing. It's shifting to the global south. You want to associate yourself more with China and Russia than Europe. Europe is dying. The European Union is going to collapse. There's no hope for this union to survive that long. It's dying. It's a dying union. So the economic powerhouse, everything is shifting. Can you imagine?
You are saying that because you are in Russia. That is why.
No. India. Let's go to
But the people in the
Let's go to statistics.
Yeah.
Let's go to statistics. India has become the 5th largest economy. Right?
But India has also maintained a relationship with the West and Russia as well.
Yet they benefit more from this global south. So
look at the number of people that gathered to welcome Narendra Modi when he visited the US a few months ago.
Among EU countries, which one is among the top 10 largest economy?
I mean, you tell us. Definitely Germany is there.
Germany is being deindustrialized. Right now, you have big companies close. Even a French company just recently shut down their factories in Germany. They are moving to the US because of this gas energy crisis.
Okay, that caused, which the Ukrainian invasion, the Ukrainian war has caused.
I mean, the terrorist attack on the gas pipeline, Nord Stream.
Well, it depends on the nomenclature and the information you're getting. All right. Yes, one more question before we go. We are running out of time. Abdullahi, both of you. Legacy of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. He secularized the country. A lot of people say for you to achieve ultimate modernization, you need to mix it with westernization. And those who are anti this type of rhetoric or ideology, they say that you don't have to be Western or westernized to be able to achieve ultimate modernization or development or something like that. Qaddam, a lot of people said that it was a mistake for Turkey to be secularized, and that is why Erdogan is seen as somebody who is trying to revive the religious glory of the country. How do you see it?
To say religious glory is kind of a bit exaggerated, but he has been able to introduce a lot of reforms which are related to some Islamic morals and practices. For example, the issue of hijab and a few other things here and there. He's been able to do that, but not as much as some people are exaggerating or saying that he has Islamized the country. Oh, no. The man, he himself has always maintained that he is a secular politician. He himself, wherever he goes, he brags that he's a secular politician. He's never been so he doesn't have there is no such thing as Islamize the country or something. But he has been able, as I say, to bring some aspects of Islamic morals to public life and at least to sanction it. Not actually to impose it on people. No, to sanction it to be allowed. For example, before it was not allowed for a hijabi wearing lady to work into a university or into any government institution. Now it is allowed. Even though if she doesn't wear hijab, there is nothing. But a hijabi, someone who wants to put on hijab, she's allowed to practice her life as normal as any other lady. That was not the case before. And also, he's good at rhetorics. For example, talking about things that are concerning Muslims around the world, even though the action has never been proportionate to the rhetoric. But at least, in politics, you can't have everything, especially in this time, in this part of the world also, and in the modern age, you can't have everything just like that. So generally, it's okay, but to say that Islamized Turkey or something, no, this is quite exaggerated.
Finally, Abdullahi Manneh, what can you say about this? I'm sure you have a little bit of criticism for Kemal Ataturk for stripping the country of its religion.
Japan was a developed country, well, even before the war, First World War, Second World War, okay? But it was religious, it's still religious, okay? So it's, we cannot conflict religion and development, okay? So Ottoman Empire itself was an empire, was based on religion. EU is like a model that they took, the European Union took the model of Ottoman Empire, without borders and things like that, trading and all these free trade and stuff that we see in European Union. So secularism is more like a cultural Marxism. It's more like trying to impose another religion on people, right? So that is it, to take out Islamic culture, to eliminate Islamic culture and replace it with secularism. So for me today, secularism is more like a religion than a political, no, economic policy. It's nothing to do with economic development or progressiveness or something like that. No. So I don't see how can you connect secularism with development? Just it happens that today the West is more progressive economically, and we know they progress just by exploiting others. They develop by exploiting others. That's the only thing. Or World Trade, even these international institutions are all racist. I mean, the World Trade, WHO, no, not WHO, I mean, WTO, for example,
WTO?
World Trade Organization.
World
So all
Trade
this,
Organization.
yes, this trade
The
policies,
boss is from Nigeria.
all these trade policies are in favor of the powerful countries, the developed countries, but
even though
countries
the big
can't
boss of
process,
the
they
WTO
can't be industrialized. In the beginning of our talk, you brought the issue of climate change, this climate change conference in UAE. All of this climate change stuff, when Africans or less developed countries follow these policies, they will stay poor forever. The Western countries they've become powerful economically by burning more carbon. Industrialization. After they got the peak of development, they want others to follow climate policies without burning, without industrialization. We cannot develop without industrialization. So this is what I'm talking about.
It was a lesson. It's a lesson that they have learned. They made a mistake. They've learned that they made a mistake in the past, and they don't want others to
no, they don't want others
towards,
to develop.
destroying the earth.
No,
destroying the earth is something that the whole world will not afford to do. That is why they're protecting it right now.
No, we can't follow climate change policies if we want to develop. And we cannot develop if we follow it. Those who develop already can follow it.
Okay,
yes. So
are you a climate change denier?
No. I'm not denying. Climate is happening, it's changing, it's nature, but that doesn't that shouldn't stop us from developing. We have to be in Africa to develop. We have to industrialize our economy. We cannot be an extractive
and we have to use
economy.
Yeah, we have to burn carbon.
Yes, we have to use energy. And how do we use solar energy? Wouldn't industrialize your economy. Solar power cannot industrialize your economy. Green energy cannot industrialize your economy. You have to burn.
Are you saying that scientifically?
No, it's the reality. The green emission, the biggest burners of carbon, I mean the greenhouse emission is coming from Europe. It's not coming from Africa. So let them cut it, not us.
They're trying to cut it. They're trying to reduce.
Yeah, let them cut, but let us develop. Let us develop.
So let them cut and let us, produce more carbon, destroy the ozone layer.
It's our turn. It is our turn. So that's what I'm trying to say. This Kamal was just an atheist or whatever he believed in. He was just a Marxist. It's a belief. It's cultural Marxism. It's not about development. So I am never a fan of such kind of people with such political ideology. And Erdogan is okay. He just gave some freedom to Muslims to practice their religion.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I always enjoy debating with you, Abdullahi. And you're clever. You know how to tackle my critical questions. Muhammad Qaddam Sidiq is our final words before we go.
Well, thank you. Anyway, you mentioned the legacy of Ataturk or something. His legacy, I think, is only maintained in institutions and officially only in Turkey. And that is it. So all politicians subscribe to his ideology, and all politicians there glorify him, because so far nobody politically can afford to criticize him. This is including Erdogan, as I say. He's always pro Ataturk, but in our part of the world, especially in Africa, you find that even in some intellectual cycles, that Erdogan been praised and glorified because they are this kind of present him as someone who's against Ataturk. Well, he's not. He's a nationalist. I mean, Erdogan is a nationalist par excellence.
Yes.
Like every person in Turkey.
Most people, many Turkish love Ataturk because of their national identity. It's nationalism.
Identity.
Yes. It's nationalism before religion.
Definitely.
Yes.
I put a question on my WhatsApp status asking my contacts to tell me the reason why they like Turkey, and some of them sent in a reply. One of them is my brother Abdullahi Isa. Abdullahi Manneh is my namesake. He says he likes Turkey because they have a strong leader. This is kind of funny, and yeah, that's what he says. And well, there's so many things to say, definitely. But time is not by our side. But we hope to join again some other day to continue talking about this issue. There's another angle that we need to find time to talk about, which is the role of Turkey in the northern Cyprus. It's also another issue, and the Turkish treatment of the Kurdish minority. There's many other things to talk about. The Turkish stand during the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi in 2018, and how it was able to restore relationship with Saudi Arabia after all that happened. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being on the show. And like I said, I can't thank you enough. You have been absolutely critical and crucial in this program. Not only this one particularly, but for all my programs. And thank you very much. On behalf of everyone that has produced or that has contributed to the production of the show. Muhammad Sidiq Isa from Dubai, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, Abdullahi Manneh, thank you for joining us and for recording.
Thank you. Thank you. Learned a lot from Muhammad.
Well,
thank you, Abdullahi. Thank you, Val. I really
definitely.
Also thank you, Abdullahi.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
MashaAllah. So my name is Umar, and I'm saying see you very soon, inshallah.
Thank you very much.